Hello, this is David Jenkins, real estate agent with Fonville, Morisey Realty, and I wanted to take a minute to tell you about the advantages of hiring a licensed home inspector to look at your property before you put it up for sale. I'm in a property right now that was built in 1950. It's vacant. The homeowner hasn't lived in it a long time. It's been a rental property. The first thing I recommended to her was have a licensed home inspector look at the property. And that way we'll know right off if there are any major problems, like maybe the roof leaks, or there's water in the crawl space, or there's mold in the crawl space, or there's structural problems, or anything really big that a buyer would find out later. Well, once a buyer's under contract and they do their own inspection, they find out about problems later, they start having buyer's remorse and wanting to back out of the deal, or maybe having the seller spend a lot of money making repairs. It's no good for a seller. It's much better to be able to present to the buyer right up front and say, here are all the problems with this property. We just had it inspected, and if you'd still like to buy it, we'll negotiate a deal, but we're disclosing right up front it has these problems. And the buyer is much more willing to accept the property with the problems if they know about them right up front. Another advantage of having your property inspected before you put it on the market is you can then choose any contractor you want to solve the problem without having a buyer look over your shoulder and one of the best contractor, most expensive contractor out there to look at it. And also, you can maybe make repairs before you put it on the market, or not make repairs, but in the inspection report you can have some marginalia explaining what you've done and attach some receipts at the end. So that's why I always recommend that sellers, especially on older houses, have their property inspected by a licensed home inspector before putting it on the market. Now, I'm here with Don Roosh, and I just wanted to introduce him. He's a master home inspector, and he can tell you a couple of things that he looks for when he does the home inspection. Don?
One of the main advantages of getting your house pre-inspected is you avoid having any major issues come up after your house is off the market, such as if somebody was to come in and find something structural in your house, that's something you were fully willing to repair, that still may scare away a potential buyer and therefore cost you time off the market as well as lose a sale.
So, in summary, getting your home inspected before you put it on the market is a good way to reduce your risk of having a buyer walk out of the deal after it's been under contract for a month because they found out about a problem that we could have found out about in the beginning. Reducing your risk that the buyer is going to want to have a second round of negotiations and beat you up over price or making repairs because they found out that there's a problem with mold in the crawl space. We could have taken care of that in the beginning. And also, it's a good marketing tool. If it is a good inspection report or you have been able to make some repairs, make it a downloadable PDF on MLS for realtors. Put a photocopy of it on the kitchen counter. And it's a big purchase the buyers are making. This puts them at ease that they're making a smart decision because an unbiased licensed home inspector has already looked at it. So that's why I always recommend having your home inspected before you put it on the market.